Hello and welcome to the OllywoodKnits podcast. This is a YouTube channel devoted to knitting, spinning, and any other fiber related crafting arts I get up to. So, I haven't been podcasting much this year. It has been quite a busy year. I had my daughter back in March and I think I might have made a podcast since then, but I have been knitting as much as I possibly can, which now that she's walking at 10 months isn't much, but I always have a couple of projects on the go still, and I thought instead of doing an everything I knit in 2024 video, I thought let's maybe do my favorite knits of 2024. So I'm gonna start with the first knit that I don't know if it's the first thing I completed in 2024, but it's definitely the first thing I completed after my daughter was born. I remember the first couple weeks I didn't do much knitting, but around Easter time, she was 3 weeks old, and I got to finally just sit down and unwind and do some knitting. So the first thing I knit since she was in the world and with me, is this, and this is called, the shawl is called the One Irresistible Skein Shawl, and I will say I am trying to do this in one take while she naps, so I might not remember I'll remember every pattern name probably, but I might not remember the designer name, so everything will be linked below with yarn and everything like that, because I'll probably forget that too. Mom brain, I just can't be bothered, otherwise it'll keep me from making videos. So I'd rather make videos and be able to chat with you guys and keep talking to you guys about what you are also knitting on, because that's the best part of this, is being able to chat about what we love. So that being said, I might be a little lacking on information today, but it will all be in the info box below. Maybe not with links this time, but at least with the pattern name and designer and the yarn that I used. So this project, I used Malabrigo, did I? I think I did Malabrigo Makita, so there's single ply fingering in the color Pearl, which is kind of like a purple toned gray, very light gray. And then I used Bramble Ridge Yarn Silkpaca lace, and I held them double, and the lace is like, it's called opalescent, and like you can tell it is gorgeous. She's big, she's super soft. I knit this originally, and I don't remember if I had only one skein, and I thought I could do, because it's One Irresistible Skein Shawl. I think it's like for one skein, but I wanted mine to be obviously much bigger. I like a big cozy crescent shawl. There is nothing better than that. So yeah, I think I hit the one skein mark maybe with like 3 of the eyelet rows to go, and I decided not to buy another skein of yarn just for that little bit, and I think I had leftover Makita in Sandbank, which is like a way warmer, it's my favorite color they have. It's like a really warm, like sandy beige, and I did like the last little chunk of it, maybe inch of it in that, which didn't look bad per se, but it definitely took away from the opalescent color shifts that are going on. It's got purples and beige and yellows, and I don't know if it has quite green, but it's just stunning, and it really took away from that, and it kept me from wearing it. To be fair, I still have ends to weave in on this shawl. I think that's the only end I actually have to weave in. So what happened was I never wore it. I didn't wear it. Then, I think spring came pretty early this year, so spring came, and it was hot all summer long, so like I never really picked it up and did anything with it until maybe it was August. I kept looking at it and I was like, you know what, I really need to just rip it back, get that Sandbank out of there, and then reknit it with a skein of the proper color. So I went to my local yarn store, which is True North Yarn Co. I think is what it's called, in Barrie, Ontario. And I went there and I got my one single skein of Pearl, used it to finish this. And yeah, I'm really glad I did. I even added some length beyond what I had it at before because it's just so cozy. For accessories, which is a lot of what I have today is accessories. I have a few sweaters that I designed myself, so I will show them for sure, but a lot of my garments here today are more accessories than they are anything else. So this one is kind of, it is so long now, it's like, it's not a struggle to wear, but she's cozy and so soft. Suri alpaca lace. I'm obsessed with it. Like, I really wish I never discovered it because now I want every single thing I knit to be with Suri alpaca lace. And it's quite a step up from Mohair in terms of like price. But then again, one 50 gram skein goes a long way. So I will have a couple of sweaters this year knit with a Suri lace in them and some more shawls too. I have like a collection, a little stash now of Suri alpaca for shawls because it's so cozy. And my daughter, when I take her for carrier walks, we go for carrier walks all the time, even in the winter, and she loves to just like cozy up into one of my cowls or a shawl. So I really do need to weave this end in. I don't know why I haven't yet. It just, I guess it doesn't really bother me. They're so long that I just don't even notice this just dangling there. But this is definitely one of my favorite knits this year. I did not number these in any way other than like, I guess, in order of knitting them, which I guess this wouldn't be first, but it is the first garment that I finished this year. So I am really proud of this one. It is so big, so fluffy, so long. I love her. I am obsessed with Suri alpaca. Oh, I guess I should talk about what I'm wearing, huh? Okay, this is the Arbor Raglan by White Owl Crochet Co., which is Molly Conrad. She's a local to me-ish designer, and this is one of the test knits. The first test knit I think I've ever done was this sweater right here, and I want to knit another one so bad. It's just so obviously like intensive lace that I'm like, do I really have the attention span to knit it? I don't know, but it was gorgeous. I knit another one for my mother-in-law, and I really do regret not knitting myself another one because it is so lovely. And this is like I forget what yarn it is. I think it was from Cascade, but it could have been Estelle yarns too. It might have been Estelle yarns. It's like their eco, I don't know, eco base. It's half wool, half cotton, which I don't love. I do not love the feel of this sweater. But as someone who does run very warm, I will say it is nice to wear it. Even like winter, I don't really wear coats. It's like -20 here and I don't wear a coat. I'm so warm all the time, that like having a half cotton sweater is actually kind of beneficial for me, especially because it is worsted weight. So like it is quite heavier weight yarn, and I do have a lot of sweater quantities in stash that are worsted weight merinos. When am I ever going to wear them? If -20 is not cold enough for me to pull out a wool sweater, like what is? But anyway, I digress. Not important. So the first thing that I did complete this year, or not the first thing I completed, but one of the first things that's on this list that I completed is going to be no surprise to anybody because, well, I mean, you'll know when I hold it up. So I remember logging on to my Ravelry one day and just like looking for inspiration. I was on maternity leave early, so I was at home, very pregnant, and all I wanted to do was just sit on the couch and knit from sun up till sundown. And I did do that, so that was wonderful. But I just lost my mind when I saw that like the #1 pattern on Ravelry for like, I don't know, for a long time was a chicken. So I had to knit myself one, and I was about to go into, labor and birth a child from my body for the first time ever. So I needed an emotional support chicken. So I thought, this is amazing. I'm going to knit it. I'm going to bring it to the hospital, and then it'll be my daughter's. So I did that. I finished her the day I went into labor. I finished her. And we brought her to the hospital that night. And my labor for the first 20 hours was very normal, very healthy. It was wonderful. And then my daughter turned the wrong way and it was like hyper contractions, and I definitely needed an emotional support chicken, but I couldn't be touched or touch anything without just losing my mind. So my husband actually got to cuddle her all night long in the corner in his chair because he needed it too. So she came to the hospital with us, and she was there in the room the whole next day when we had our little baby girl. So yeah, so this is actually my emotional support chicken. And then I thought, because my husband enjoyed our chicken so much, my chicken so much, that I should knit him one. So I used Mohair. I think it was Tin Silk Mohair, Sandbank and Tin Silk Mohair, held with Malabrigo Rios, which is their worsted weight based. This is obviously Sandbank mixed with, I think it was Queguay or something like that. It's just the most amazing colors, this one. I love this one so much. They sit, I use them as just like pillows on our in our couch in our living room, and my daughter loves them. She likes to climb the couch and be crazy, and so she loves to grab these and play with them. So this is my husband's. This is Yerba, and I believe this is the rest of Queguay here. And then this color here is like a brown and blue, and I completely forget what color it is. Yeah, but she's beautiful. He's beautiful. This is my husband's one. And then I thought, because my husband kind of claimed that guy, that I needed to knit like a little one for my daughter. So this one has Suri alpaca, which is I think it's the remainder of what I had left over from my shawl. So I knit this one in April or something, I don't know, later on, for my daughter. And I just love the colors. These are my favorite colors, pink and green. So the green is, I think the color is called Mosaic, and it's just a sock yarn from Color of My Fiber on Etsy. So love that it's a Canadian brand. And then I do believe the pink is called Gloria, and it was a Malabrigo sock. So I'm not sure what these little bits are here, but I absolutely love this one. It's so soft, and my daughter loves her little chicken so much. And so if we have more children, I'm gonna have to knit them little chickens, and then we can have the family of chickens on the back of the couch. And I just line them up on the top of the couch, and I'll insert photos and stuff because I just think it's the cutest thing. Yeah, we were talking once. I went out to like do a little grocery shop and left my husband and my baby at home, and I guess I took a while, or longer than they thought I would take. So I came home and my husband was like, "Oh, I thought you left us." And I was like, "Ugh, as if I would leave without my emotional support chickens." The next thing I knit is another cute little toy-esque thing for my daughter. I have been on like an amigurumi toy kick in 24. I'm not going to show them all because a lot of them aren't great. But this guy turned out great. So this is, oh, he's kind of squished. Daughter loves him. My daughter absolutely loves this guy. This is The Good Bear by Susan B. Anderson. And my goodness, like the pattern is just wonderful. It's so easy to knit. If you can knit a sock, you can knit one of these. Did not take me very long. Like if I didn't have a baby, I bet I could get this done in a weekend. So a nice cozy weekend in alone and knitting a bear, so amazing. She doesn't get the sweater off, thankfully, but she does get his pants off all the time. It's so funny. And she'll just play with the pants. It's so funny. But she loves her bear. She chews on his nose all the time, so his nose is kind of messed up now. But I believe I used Drops Flora for the base yarn and held it with, I did hold it again with more Suri, but this was Suri that I picked up at Rhinebeck last year, no, well, 2023, and I believe it is Primrose Yarn Co. Their Suri lace base in, oh gosh, I'll never remember the color, but it's, oh gosh, it's their Suri Cloud. Oh, I want to remember the color so bad, but I can't. It's like a beige pink. It's on the tip of my tongue. On the tip of my tongue. Oak. I think it's called Oak. Anyway, it's beautiful. I tried to get another skein of it because I do have one more skein of this and like a little bit left over. I've used it for a ton. I used it, I think actually the oak is what I used for the chicken. And then I used it again because I did these back to back for my daughter. And then I think I used it here, and I have a little bit of that skein left over. So this stuff goes a long way. I think I might be okay to knit a shawl with what I have left over. Because that's what I had saved. I think I have Malabrigo Makita in stash. This is not even important right now, but I have Malabrigo Makita, Sandbank in stash, and that Primrose Yarn Co. But I think the yardage is less. Like I think it's only like 350 yards for a 50 gram skein rather than, you know, like the usual like 460 that you get with a Suri lace like that. But I tried to pick up another skein this year, and that was like the one base she didn't bring. She brought the Cloud DK. It was pretty gutting because I had my yarn list for Rhinebeck this year was basically just all of her Suri lace, and she didn't bring it at all. So it made Rhinebeck kind of fun because then I got to go around and try to find what I like, try to find lace. Surprisingly, there was not a lot of Suri lace at Rhinebeck this year. So, you know, it is what it is. I still got everything on my list that I wanted, so it was totally fine. But yeah, this guy, this good bear, I don't remember much about it. I knit him so long ago. I do remember having a really good time knitting him though. And my daughter's face, whenever I handed him to her, she was really young, like 3 or 4 months. So like not as enthusiastic about him like then as she is now. She loves him now, but yeah, she definitely did like hug him right away. It's so cute. And I mean, these are things that, you know, like these are heirloom things, toys. Like I mean, I think I have a sock monkey that my grandma made out of like store-bought socks. She didn't knit the sock monkey, but still she sewed him together for me and my brothers, I think. And so, you know, it's just like those are things you have forever. And yeah, so very pleased with these. Next knit that I am in love with is it's very confusing when you look at it. This gorgeous lace kimono. I will insert a video of me trying her on because she deserves a spotlight. So this garment, I think I knit it really quickly. Like for a lace garment, I don't even do like fingering weight sweaters. I don't even do. For someone who runs so hot, and I probably should have some fingering weight sweaters in stash, I don't have any. I don't know why. I just can't imagine being able to finish it. And like it would take me 6 months to finish a fingering weight, so I can't even. But I guess my daughter was much younger, so like really at that age, at like two months old maybe she would just lay on the couch. She couldn't roll yet. She couldn't fall off the couch because she couldn't roll yet. And you know, she played with like a little teething toy, and that was that. She was fine. You know, she didn't need anything else. She didn't need as much interaction. So I could just sit beside her, watch Bridgerton, and knit, and it was amazing. And I miss those days so much. But that's okay because my daughter is so much fun, and I love playing with her. But I do miss being able to just sit and chill and knit sometimes. I really, really do miss it. But anyway, this kimono, I have been obsessed with kimonos for years, and I have been trying to find the right pattern to knit up a kimono that would fit me the way that I want, and you know, be comfortable at the same time, and just fit all the bills, the fabric, everything, be light enough. And I haven't been able to. And I forget who the pattern is. I think it's Aegyo Knits has a kimono, and I forget what the kimono's name is. It has all this ribbing, or I don't know if it's ribbing or if it's like herringbone, not herringbone, what am I thinking? Oh shoot, half fisherman's rib, I think. It's really cool. And the construction is knit sideways from like sleeve to sleeve, and I never really considered knitting a garment like that. I know people do like cocoons all the time and stuff like that. I don't like the way cocoons sit on me. I don't know if it's my shoulders are too wide. I just don't like the way they fit. I wish I did. So I've been searching forever for a kimono, a knit kimono that would fit me the way that I want it to fit me. And so I saw that one and I thought, why get the pattern when I can just cast it on and try to do the same kind of construction, but just in simple stockinette and whatever gauge I want. And it just means that I might have to frog maybe once or twice, but like I could do it my way. So I did. And this I knit with Malabrigo Mohair in whole grain. So it's just got nice shifting, like little, almost like tiger stripes, but they're so subtle. And Malabrigo Mohair, it's just so soft. Like it's way softer than any other mohair I've tried. So I guess that's why it's so much money. It's a little bit more money. I think that I've always thought that was maybe just because it was hand dyed. That's why it was more, but it just feels way softer than any other mohair that I've used. And I used this held with, I believe, I thought maybe I was doing 2 strands, but it looks like it is just 1 strand. Yeah, so 1 strand of Malabrigo, their Silkpaca lace in the color Pearl again. So just like a very like warmish purple kind of, I don't know, light gray, I guess. I don't know how else to describe it. The color looks amazing. And I lined the whole thing with I-cord just to keep it, nice and clean. And I did have to do, so I did find that I'm knitting from, so I cast on, did I cast on here or cast off here? I think I cast on here. So I cast on here with a little bit of ribbing and then decided not to do much ribbing. And I didn't want to go back and redo it. So I literally did like 3 or 4 rows of ribbing here and then marked here to do increases. So I increased along here. And that was really hard to gauge when to say, okay, that's good, now start the panel. It was really, really hard. I had to keep kind of holding it up to myself. And, so the sleeves are quite long, which is what I wanted, like wide sleeves like that. So it is great. But it was really hard to gauge. You have to seam up here. So you have to, I have a pole there. You have to seam up this side. So you cast on these stitches once you get to the end of where you think your sleeve should be. And then I cast on these stitches and then I knit my side panel and my back. So it was a super long row. So you're in the round and then you're knitting flat until you have your panel, and then you cast off your panel and then you knit across your back side here, which I could have done less. I could have done maybe like 5 rows less, but anyway, hindsight, it doesn't matter. It fits wonderfully. I'm very comfortable with it. And then you cast on all the stitches you need for the next panel, and then you're back in the round for the finishing sleeve. It's a lot of just plain stockinette, which is wonderful with a baby. Yeah, I don't think it took me very long to get this done. I don't remember. It'll be in the show notes though. But yeah, it was really, really fun. And then when I finished it, I wasn't very happy with the back. I felt like the back kind of came out from my neck like this. And you really don't like when sweaters do that. But because it's knit sideways, I didn't understand how you could like add short rows knitting sideways. So I did some ribbing on the bottom. I did like some ribbing and I did do short rows with my ribbing. I kind of wish I went down another needle size for my ribbing. It's not perfect. It's not very neat at all. But you know what? It's pretty. It does the job. It's very flattering. I wore it to Rhinebeck, like when we went out for dinner both nights. I wore it. If you can hear my dog, please excuse him. But yeah, this is probably my favorite knit of 2024. I do actually have another sweater that's supposed to be in here, but I don't see it in my pile, so I'm gonna have to find it at the end and talk about it because it was my Rhinebeck sweater. I did make it my Rhinebeck sweater, and it was also a self-drafted knit, but it's a simple raglan, so I mean it's not anything super special. But I did use yarn from Stash that was just like sitting there. I remember even purchasing it like early morning hours before my alarm goes off, and I just made, like, that's when I always make really like not bad impulsive purchases, but like not well thought out in like purchases. And it was one of those where like I bought this fingering weight single ply silk, very variegated black and gray, and like I would never, like I just couldn't see myself wearing a sweater. It was for a sweater pattern. I could not see myself wearing that cardigan, let alone knitting it. And so it sat in my stash for ages. And then I ended up knitting this. I'm talking about the sweater and I don't even have it, so I might as well go get it because, I mean, what am I doing? Okay, so this is the sweater. She is beautiful. So the yarn underneath is this variegated, kind of like speckly, single ply silk, and she is sturdy. I don't think, I just did simple eyelets for raglan increases, nothing really. I just want a deep underarms here, so it's like super like just drapey and really long. I think it comes down almost to my knees. Maybe not my knees, maybe mid-thigh, but it's long. I also did short rows. I don't think I did short rows at the top, so I did the short rows down here. I'm very, very, very happy with the sweater. And it's funny because when I cast it off, I thought, oh, I'll never wear it, like, because I have too many stitches along my back panel when I cast on. That should be like here. I should have that many stitches. I have this many, and it's just, it falls off my shoulders a lot. But in hindsight, I actually kind of like it, especially like in the winter. Like I thought I would like it, oh, maybe for like spring or fall when it's not too cold, I won't mind it. But I actually really like it in the winter because I wear a lot of like thermal long sleeve like running shirts. I have one on now under this. And so it's great for that because I can get a little warm and it just falls off the shoulder, and it's actually really, really nice. It doesn't fall off the shoulder as much as I thought it would, which is wonderful because I actually end up wearing it a ton. And when I finished it, I was really disappointed. I had a few duds. I think I might have actually knit this one before my kimono that I just showed you. And I was worried about that one because before this I also had a sweater. I finished a worsted weight, I think it was with Cascade Wave, 220 waves. It's beautiful, but again, it was just not really flattering. It had to be buttoned up in order for me to feel good wearing it. It is a really nice sweater. Did not make the favorites. It was kind of just discouraging, and I was like, oh, maybe this is why you should follow a pattern, right? Because even if you are experienced knitter and you know how to knit a raglan, and it's the numbers that you need. And for me, it wasn't really the numbers, it was more the short rows. I really learned that I need short rows either in my shoulders or in my shoulders and at the bottom. I do like the bottom to be just a little bit longer than the front, whether it's a cardigan or a pullover, it doesn't matter. I need that little bit of added length. So in hindsight, that sweater, I mean, I could totally cast back onto it. I do have a full ball left over of that. I could rip it back, rip the hem off. Oh no, I couldn't, because then I'd have to rip the collar out too. Okay, never mind. It's fine, I'll just wear it buttoned up. But anyway, this one I thought was gonna be, I was disappointed when I first cast it off, and then after wearing it, it has become probably one of my most worn knits now. The yarn, okay, maybe I should talk about the yarn. So I did talk about the silk as the base yarn, but I did hold drops brushed alpaca silk because I had a whole sweater quantity of this in stash in the light pink sand or pink sand, something like that. And it is beautiful. Like, it's very rusticy, but it's still super soft. I think this is going to be a super durable sweater, and I will, be rotating it all the time. I did go back in though because I don't want to rip it out and have to redo the whole sweater. I just don't. Now that I'm a mom, I'm like, I do not have time for any of that. Although I do think knitting is about being slow, and the process for me especially, I just love to knit. So like, totally rip back your sweaters and re-knit them if they're not happy. I am happy with this, but in hindsight, I did go back because I did write down my pattern and everything I did and my magic numbers. I did augment the numbers for this though. I'm pretty sure what I have on Ravelry though is And I'll link my Ravelry below so you can check out my projects if you want to. I have not updated it in a while, but I believe that I did augment the stitch count for the back panel already, but I can double check that. In the pattern notes though, I left it as is so that I knew, but in my actual notes on my phone where I have the thing written down, I did augment that. But I did go back with a crochet hook and put just like chain stitches through here to kind of try and tighten it up so it doesn't stretch any more than it is, which is good. Because if it did, then I probably wouldn't be my favorite knit anymore. But I love it. I know the under yarn is a little bit wild, but I really like it. So yeah, it's a good one. My next knit is not for me. It is for my daughter. This is Micah's Raglan by Hannah G Knits. She's here on YouTube. You probably know her. And I knit this darling raglan for my daughter in the summer. It was the perfect summer knit. This is, I believe this is Drops Merino. I believe it's Drops Merino. And just like the light gray. And I knit the 2-year size. So this would fit her now. It would just be more like a sweater dress for her, which is totally fine. And I had zero business picking up a new hobby this year, but I didn't have any plans to make a lot of purchases at the Berry Fiber Festival in the summertime. So when the Fiber Festival came around, I signed up for a class. So I took an embroidery on your knits class, which I thought would be really cool, especially with my daughter and like wanting to knit her for her more as she gets a little bit bigger. I thought, how cute would that be to like customize her knits with some embroidery? So I took a class and we did, I'll show pictures closer up, but we did this beautiful flower and leaves. We did the whole thing in like a 2-hour class. The class was taught by Knitted Bliss. She is on Instagram and I can link her below too. And the class was amazing. Like it was so much fun. And I came home with a finished sweater for my daughter, and yeah, I am so in love with it. So in love with it that I thought, why don't we have matching sweaters? So I am currently working on it. I've been working on it since September, so that's ridiculous. Since September, I've had this sweater cast on my needles, and I might actually go back and rip it out and redo it with a bigger gauge, because I'm not a big fan of the gauge. I'm knitting it now. I think it's too tight. But yeah, when I'm done my sweater, I will also have the same little flower embroidered on there. And then, hopefully I'll get it done before she's 2 or before she outgrows this. She's quite tall, so I did knit this a couple inches or maybe an inch longer than it was supposed to be knit. But I might have to, yeah, I don't know. I definitely have to get that done so that my daughter and I can wear them at least this fall. And hopefully next spring before she grows out of it. She is growing very fast and she is very tall, so my window of opportunity is coming to a close. So I really do need to go back and frog my sweater and get it knit up quickly so that we can match, because I am so excited for matching moments. I can't wait. So yeah, the embroidery is awesome. I loved coloring as a kid. I loved drawing as a kid, so like I just bought like tracer, like the paper you use, like you stick in, I don't know if it's called stick and melt or stick and peel or whatever it is, but you stick it on and then you just wash it, like it melts away in the water, but it leaves your design. So, and that's what this was as well. So I bought a bunch from her, and then I actually just bought the plain paper on Amazon and have been drawing with dissolvable like pencils, my own designs, because I think I'm an okay drawer. So I've been designing my own, and I designed my own for Rhinebeck. So one of my Rhinebeck sweaters, and this is a favorite project of mine. It's not knitted. I'll have to go get it. So Rhinebeck this year, I had 2 sweaters. So one of them was actually a hand knit sweater, like your typical Rhinebeck sweater, which was the cardigan I just showed you. And then I also had a cowl, and with my cowl I wore this. So this is just an extra large sweater I got off of Amazon, which in hindsight I probably could have got a medium, but I always order large or extra large on Amazon because it's supposed to be oversized, and a lot of the times with Amazon they send you like, it's way tinier than like if I went to the store here and bought a large, it would be much bigger than a large that I got on Amazon. So I ordered an extra large. If I could go back, I would order a medium for sure because it is huge, but it's still super, super cozy. Super, super cozy, but it is like quite big. But anyway, I embroidered some sunflowers and this little motif over here, and I just drew them myself and just looked up at pictures on Google for, you know, inspo. And yeah, I was really proud of this. So I got to wear this to Rhinebeck too on the Sunday, and I wore it with my cowl. It was lovely. Rhinebeck was really like sunny and warm this year, like it was the first year we went back in 2022. So very happy with that. And yeah, I got to wear this, and there were some embroidery booths there that I noticed. I got myself a gorgeous pin cushion. I never did a Rhinebeck recap, did I? I never did, but I got this gorgeous pin cushion because I'm really into embroidery. I really love embroidering, and I also want to get into sewing this year too. I would love to make clothes for my daughter and my husband and I. So yeah, I mean, who am I starting hobbies the year I have a baby? Like, well, what's crazy? But I'm just itching to sew so bad. If you are a sewist or you dabble in that, whatever, let me know down below any courses you can recommend, or like how you recommend learning. If there's a channel on YouTube that's really great for beginners. Like, I don't even know how to use a sewing machine. That is not something I was ever taught growing up. Knitting I was taught, but not sewing. So I would really like to get into sewing because I would love to like make my own sweaters and then embroider them too. I think that would just be amazing. So this is definitely on the favorites list. I did not knit the sweater, obviously, but you know, there will be more plain knits that I do embroider coming in the future. On my list is my Rhinebeck hat this year. So this is the Miss Babs colorway for the 2023 Rhinebeck, and I have both sides. Both sides are the Rhinebeck colorway. I totally forget the names, so I will have them down below again. I knit two of these. I knit this one for myself, and I knit an identical one for my sister-in-law Jamie. So we wore them to Rhinebeck, and yeah, super, super fun. I have done two of these now, and I'm debating doing another one. The Rhinebeck skein from this year, 2024, there was a pink one, which was gorgeous. But of course they did like a minty green one, and green is my color. Green and pink are both my colors, but the green one was so up my alley. So I don't know. I think I would wear that hat, that a Musselburgh in that color more than I would this. But this is also really gorgeous, and I can see my daughter taking this someday and wearing it. So yeah, so that's not the only Musselburgh I knit this year. I also did this one, and this one is a little bit stretchier. I really, really love it. I wear it a ton when I'm walking with my daughter. This is probably my most worn Musselburgh that I've knit so far. This is Color of My Fiber sock yarn in the color Toffee. And I have wanted like a burnt orange kind of color for so long. And I bought this years ago, like 2 or 3 years ago, to knit a Musselburgh, and just never ever cast it on. So it has dog hair all over it. But yeah, I finally did it this past year, and I wear it all the time. I remember, I think I cast it on in August, and I rushed to get it done for Rhinebeck. Didn't. I think I got it done the week after Rhinebeck, but I have worn it a lot since then. So I love it. And yeah, now I did knit a Musselburgh for my daughter in the same colors that her emotional support chicken. So the leftover yarns from these two skeins, I did her like reversible Musselburgh. It's getting too tight for her now. I did it with 2.75 millimeter needles, which I normally knit it with 3 millimeter. I don't know why I made that decision, especially because her head is growing so rapidly that I don't know, that was not smart in hindsight. She loves her hat. Every time I pull it out, she like smiles and reaches for it, but she doesn't like wearing it. She likes to cuddle it in her car seat. So, I mean, it's fine. It is what it is. She's always warm regardless. So, that's making my favorites list because it's her favorite and it's the cutest thing ever. But I am fighting temptation to frog it and save the yarn and knit her a toddler size, because I think her head is kind of getting towards the toddler size. So I'm tempted to do that because she doesn't, I think it's so tight that she doesn't enjoy wearing it. So yeah, we'll see. I have lots of Musselburgh plans. I just love them. They're so wearable. They're so, I need to do one for my husband. I really do, because he would love a hat. He does wear hats a lot. So, and it's great bike knitting. I can sit on the stationary bike and just knit, or walking and knit when it's not so cold that my hands freeze off. Don't know. Anyway, next knit on my favorites is my Frame Your Face cowl. I don't know if you can hear that. My daughter's just babbling like crazy. She's with her dad. I'm not leaving her in her crib alone to do this. This is since I didn't do it technically, I didn't knit like a sweater for Rhinebeck like I normally would, starting July and making sure I have it done for October. I didn't do that this year because I had a big back injury in September that kept me from taking care of my daughter for a couple of weeks. It was really, really bad, and I couldn't even knit. I couldn't do anything. Like moving even an inch would cause me excruciating pain. So I lost quite a bit, and I lost pretty much all of September. It was a miracle that I even was able to go to Rhinebeck. So I'm amazed that I even got this done. I remember after I got better and I could start sitting and knitting again, I was like, I have to complete like 10 rows a day of color work in order to like even finish it in time for Rhinebeck. And I did. I managed it. I stayed up late. My daughter, she sleeps in her crib, so I was able to stay up late and get it done. And we got it done. So I used, I think this is the Drops Tweed. And it's beautiful. And then I used a Zara ball. So I was gonna use my Dyed in the Wool Ghost Ranch, but I have obviously placed that yarn on a pedestal and I can't seem to figure out what pattern I'm going to use it for. So it's kind of just sitting. I might just spin up like a plain color and then do some sort of, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with that yarn. Anyway, I used a Zara ball and I don't remember what color it was. Something to do with the dragon. It doesn't have the color on the, I mean, it has like the numbers on the tag, so I'll have to try and find out what the numbers was at least. But yeah, she's gorgeous and I love wearing it. I always get compliments on it. I think it's just such a beautiful pattern. I don't know if I would wear an all over color work. Like, I mean, I definitely would. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous sweater, and I think like who wouldn't admire a sweater like that? But I'm very happy I did the cowl. I could see myself knitting this again. It was very easy color work. I've only done a few color work patterns. I only have a few under my belt. So the fact that I found this really easy just speaks to accessibility. So I have like 4 Zara balls, all different colors in my stash. And this only used half of one, or maybe not even half. So it really doesn't use much at all. So I am totally debating doing another one in a completely different color, maybe something more stark, like maybe like a closer to like a white base color, and then use a Zara ball. I don't know, we'll see. But this was fun. I enjoyed it. Yeah, loved it. My next knit, I got home from Rhinebeck, and I remember just like sitting at Rhinebeck, sitting in my beautiful lace weight kimono that I was showing you, and just loving the feel of it. That I was like, oh, I really want just a plain, I just wanted to knit a plain triangle shawl with no nothing complicated, don't have to follow a pattern, just cast it on and knit it. And so that's what I did. I did another, not really a pattern knit. So here we are. This is my spirit shawl, I'm gonna call it. I don't really know what I'm saying, but I cast this on and I just knit it because that's what I wanted. I just wanted something very, very light and flowy and easy to wear for the fall. I cast it on right after Rhinebeck and knit it for 2 weeks and had it done. So I've already worn it more than, like, this and that pink cardigan I've worn more than any of my other knits. I love it so much. So the base yarn is, again, the Malabrigo Silkpaca and the pearl, and then I also used, I think when I ran out of that, I used is it Sandnes yarn? I believe it is. It's their like alpaca lace base. It's not fluffy, and then I held it with Estelle Yarn's Alpaca Whisper, which is their lace alpaca fluff. It's gorgeous. I love it. It's very plain. It's very just, every row I just felt like I can just knit what I want. Do I want a pearl? Do I want to knit? I believe I increased every single row at the beginning and at the end so that I had a long wingspan. And then I just obviously increased with eyelets down the center for the point. So the point isn't like too deep. And yeah, it's just super easy to wear and light, and my daughter loves it. She loves alpaca. It's her favorite. It's my favorite. She loves it. She just rubs her face against it all the time, or if I'm holding her, she'll just put her head down. And she is a wild child, so if I can get her just to chill with me for a second, I will. So I'm gonna have to knit a lot of alpaca to keep her snuggling with me because I love my cuddles. But yeah, this is by far one of my favorites this year. I really loved. I loved knitting this. This was definitely something I came home just craving, knitting a triangle shawl, which I don't normally love triangle shawls. I usually prefer crescents, but because I again increased at the beginning and end of each round or each row, the wingspan is just very comfortable to wear. It's very lightweight and squishy, and I love it. So I loved it so much that when I finished it in 2 weeks, I couldn't believe I had a finished garment in 2 weeks. I thought I need another one. So I knit another one. This one, same thing, same but different. This one has like a purl ridge and then an eyelet row and then a purl ridge as like the, I don't know, just the details here. And then, yeah, this is with, again, that Sandnes garn alpaca lace. I did hold that double, so it is like a very fine lace alpaca, and I have like, I must have mohair or something stuck to my nose. I'm so itchy. I did hold a double for this shawl, so this one is markedly not as drapey. It's like much heavier than this one. This one is way heavier than this guy, and I don't know why I just felt compelled to hold 3 strands for this one versus that one. It's just a bit warmer, but it's the exact same construction other than like the details are a little bit different, because I didn't want to do the exact same thing. And yeah, I increased and decreased, or sorry, increased at both the beginning and end of rows on both sides. And then, yeah, so I did the eyelet increases down the center again, just because I like that. And I thought it went well with the eyelets going across. Actually, you know what? In hindsight, I wish I didn't. I wish I did the make one right and make one left. But for this one specifically, that one, not so much. But yeah, the colors of this yarn, because of course my base yarn is just like a plain silvery kind of beige. The colors are coming from the mohair on this one. A little bit like my opalescent shawl. So this one, I'm using Malabrigo Mohair in Diana is the colorway, and it is gorgeous. These colors are just my colors. I love them. I mean, I'm not a color matching kind of person. Like I don't care what my colors are. I just wear what makes me happy. I've never had my colors assessed. I just always assumed I look better in warm tones. But yeah, I love this one. I do not wear it as much as I wear my beige one, probably just because my beige one literally is a neutral. It goes with everything, and it's so light it doesn't feel like I'm wearing anything. Whereas this one, like it's heavier. I can feel it around. I can feel it, the weight of it on my shoulders. Like I can feel it around me, which is not something I generally love. In hindsight, I kind of wish I just kept with the single strand of the under yarn, but I feel like even holding those two laces together, like they're not heavy, you know, it's not heavy. It still wasn't even a fingering weight. I wouldn't say it's even anything like holding Malabrigo Makita with a Suri or a Mohair. So I don't know. Maybe it's in my head. It's probably just in my head because I love the other one so much. I do love this one though. I will wear this a ton. It still is super easy to wear. I just find it maybe just a little bit more heavy, I guess. So that takes me through all of my knits this year. Not my knits this year, but my favorite knits this year. There is one thing I forgot while I was doing everything, which is the Knit Your Gnome Adventure. And I forget if it's by Susan B. Anderson. I don't remember who the designer is, but I'll have it listed below. I knit 2 gnomes. One of them I knit in Rhinebeck when I was there this year, and he is so cute. I knit him while I was there that weekend, and my daughter loves him, so he's been approved. He is a fixture in our household now, and I had to knit him a girlfriend or a little sister or whoever she is. My daughter can make up a story for who they are later, but I knit her a little bit differently. I knit her smaller, and then I also knit her a shawl, a triangle shawl, which is what inspired actually that lace weight shawl, the beige one that I love so much. I was just knitting that little shawl out of the Rhinebeck colorway from last year as well, and so I had the scraps left over, so I knit her a little shawl instead of a beard, and so they're super cute. I will insert a photo because I don't have them here with me and I don't really want to go grab them. So yeah, so I knit those the Rhinebeck weekend, and that's so fun. I feel like having a little project like that when you go on a trip or something is just so nice, because it's just every time I look at them, I'll remember that trip. And that was a really good one this year. Last year the weather was so poorly that it didn't ruin the weekend at all. It was still magical. It's just we didn't get to sit out in the woods and enjoy like being outside and being in Rhinebeck for the trees. And this year we got to enjoy that. This year was gorgeous. So sadly we will not be at Rhinebeck in 2025. This is the first time in like 3 or 4 years that I'm not counting down the days to Rhinebeck anymore. I was, until we found out that we have a wedding in the family that weekend, so we won't be going, my sister-in-law and I, which is really sad. I hope we don't lose our Airbnb, because my goodness, like that is a lifesaver when we're there. So hopefully we get to keep our Airbnb for the next year, or we'll just pay for it and not go so that nobody can steal it from us. But yeah, anyway, I am kind of sad that we're not going, but I've had such a good year. I became a mom and my life changed so much in the best way. And yeah, I think I appreciate and I love my knitting more than I ever have, all my crafting more than I have, because, you know, I don't get to do it whenever I want. And I think that makes it all the more precious, and it makes me all the much more conscious of, you know, what I'm going to cast on next, and getting stuff done now. I have 2 sweaters on the needles right now, and I normally don't, and it's kind of stressing me out this week. I was like, I'm never going to get them done if I have 2 on the needles. Like, I'm not going to be able to wear them this winter, and it's a cold winter here. We have like 3 or 4 feet of snow out there. It's a lot. It's the winter where if you want to wear a thicker knit, you're going to wear a thicker knit. You're going to wear the wool. So I am just like trying to get those done. I should do a podcast soon. We'll see if my daughter gets on like a better nap schedule and I can kind of predict it more, then I'll sit down and I'll do a little podcast and talk about my current whips. I think I've already shown my finished objects, so my next podcast will probably be a bit quicker. I'll just talk about my current whips and maybe my current spins as well. I have so many spinning projects on the go right now. I have 2 sweater quantities of fiber ready to go this year. And I'm 3-plying different colors for the sweaters, and I'm so excited. One was going to be my Rhinebeck sweater for next year. It's going to be the Harvester sweater by Jess Steingass, but I guess I'm not going to do that. I guess I'll do that the next year. I'll knit it for the next Rhinebeck 2026. Hopefully I'll be there. But yeah, this year was amazing. This year I got a new wheel. So this is my Ashford Traveler. She is 3 years old. I got her used. I found her 40 minutes from home, and my husband was out partying with his boys at the indoor golf, and I was just laying in bed with my daughter, and I texted him. I was like, you know, I just found this Traveler like 40 minutes from home. Like I would love to go like pick it up. And he was like, well, let's go next weekend. I was like, really? So this is my Christmas gift from my husband, and I absolutely love it. My dad and I did not buy it this color. My dad and I stained it. So it was a nice project. It was a nice gift from my husband, but then it was also really nice to like have something to work on with my dad. My dad is super handy. So we just took the wheel to his shop, took it all apart. It was really easy to take apart. Like I think with any Ashford, doesn't matter, even if I bought one that was 20 years old, 30 years old, whatever, you can always find the manual for whichever generation you're getting. So obviously the manual for a 3-year-old wheel would be super easy to find, so it was. Yeah, and we stained her beautifully. I think I used Minwax Poly Shades because I saw 2 other Ashford Travelers just like mine with this, I think is it Bombay Mahogany or something like that. And yeah, so I, you know, talked to both people who had stained their Travelers and got some advice from them on how to stain mine, and my dad and I did it. And I do not recommend staining a wheel with, I always recommend an oil-based stain, but I do not recommend staining your wheel with a stain that has the polyurethane mixed into it. This one did, and it was a lot of work to get it beautiful, and she's not perfect. You can see brush strokes. You can, like every time we would do the ornate parts, so like the uprights here, we would, you know, paint it on, just make sure it's flawless. I am very particular. I'm very crafty, artsy. I was perfectionist, and still as it dried, it would drip and pool over certain areas. So if you do have a wheel that is ornate or has any like woodworking like that, always do one of those stains where you paint it on, you wipe it off or you rub it in, and then do the shiny gloss at the end. I feel like I only did this because I saw other wheels with the same stain and they're gorgeous, and mine is gorgeous. I don't regret it. It's beautiful. But in the end, if I could go back and save myself a little bit of heartache, I would do it with a traditional stain that you wipe off. You just have to do the extra step at the end. And I probably would have actually done less coats than I ended up doing. Some of these pieces have 4 coats because we had to sand off the drips and then try and get it even over top of them. So yeah, that is the only thing I would change. We did that guy too. Everything has been done to perfection. I'm very, very happy with my wheel. There are a couple places that need to be fixed up now that we have the wheel together. I can see things mostly on the back side, just maybe some little places that we kind of missed. The hub of the wheel here has some drips too and smudges. So yeah, there's definitely some work to be done to fix her up, but otherwise she's stunning. I have never loved a wheel so much. Like I just stare at her all the time. Very happy that I got this version too. I don't love the new one that has the Traveler 3 that has the maiden in the center. I really love having my maiden to the left of my wheel. I love it. I think it's so interesting to look at. And yeah, I find myself staring at her all the time. So very, very happy with this wheel. So that is one of my acquired products this year. So my current fleet or flock of wheels is my Ashford Eastwinder 3 and my Ashford Traveler. I'm an Ashford girl now. I thought I would be a Magic Craft girl forever, but I'm an Ashford girl, and I've never been so happy with a wheel for like, I don't think ever. So very, very pleased. This has been, I got the polycord conversion kit as well and put a polycord on her. The new one has like the whirl like cutouts in the wheel as well. This one doesn't. The wheel is solid wood, so I like that better as well than an NDF kind of wood. But I did the polycord, and oh my gosh, she's so smooth. She is smooth, she is gorgeous, and I absolutely love spinning on her. And so right now I actually have 2 bobbins full already of a lace, this is Shetland from Whispering Pine Farms. I got it at Rhinebeck in 2023. And yeah, this is, I have been waiting. I didn't know what to do with it. I'm going to do a 3-ply, probably gonna end up being a sport or DK. And I'm hoping to do a cabled hat. I would like to get that done before it gets cold. So I have 2 bobbins done now. I gotta quickly whip up. It's all woolen spun, so shouldn't take me too long to quickly whip up the last little bit, and that's what this is. So I actually, these are probably my favorites too, but they're crochet. I crocheted these hanging bags. I have 3. So if I want to do a 3-ply, I can section off and weigh the braid or the bump or whatever it is that I'm spinning from into the 3 different sections of equal grams. So this one, I think I had 120 grams, so they're 40 grams each, which was super easy. So there's 40 grams in here of that Shetland. It's gorgeous. And I'll ply it up all on my Ashford e-spinner, which has the jumbo bobbin, so it'll fit nicely. Otherwise, I think on here, especially with the woolen spun, I don't think I would be able to fit that on these bobbins. So yeah, so anyway, that's my year in review. I hope you stuck around, and if you did, thank you so much. Please consider giving me a like and a subscribe. I do plan on being around much more often. I really do miss sitting down and chatting, and yeah, I don't have anyone in my life, well, not anyone, I do have people in my life I can chat to about knitting, but it is so nice to meet more people online and chat about my favorite things. So yeah, so thank you for sticking around, and I hope you liked this video, and if you didn't, then